on, everybody? Welcome. Today is Wednesday. It's December 7th, 2022. My name is Jeremy. This is my first. I hope you're all doing well out there. As you can hear, my voice is still not quite 100%. It's probably not going to be until I talk to you on at least Friday, probably Monday. I would guess I'll be back to normal on Monday. And until then, I've got a scratchy voice, which you may or may not enjoy. Good morning to Nathan, Liz, Jenny, all the rest of you out there, whether you're watching live later or listening. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming by. Got a little over 4 hours of sleep. It is the last day of the event. Good morning, Brian. Last day of the Tony Robbins event. I cannot even, especially in a sleep-deprived state, begin to try to put what I'm experiencing into context. It is so mind-blowing as to be surreal. And this is where I'm going to say that to any of you, literally any of you, if the idea of personal growth is appealing, if you are someone that, Chris, I love you. Chris says, good morning, my friend. I love you. You look like crap. I love you too. And I know I look like crap. I both feel like crap and feel incredible. Look, if you're up for growth, if you're up for personal growth, if when I talk about martial arts as an engine for personal growth, if that resonates for you, if you say, yes, I love that I become a better person because of my training, then I would encourage you to look into the whole Tony Robbins Pangea of offerings. And in fact, I believe it's next Thursday, they're doing a female-centric, like half-day or one-day course specifically for women. I've sent it to a few people that I know. The reason I believe that any of you would appreciate what is going on in these courses is the fact that you are folks who show up for this show. If you show up for this show, I can't imagine you're showing up without some component of appreciating my perspective and liking the way I look at the world. And I have arrived at some of the very same, not only mannerisms, tools, but worldview as Tony Robbins. And so it all stems from there. And I would be surprised if any of you would not appreciate your attendance. I have no dog in the fight. I make no money. There's no like affiliate code or anything. I'm just always going to share with all of you the stuff that I think is of value. Good morning, Shabashi. Dennis says happy Camel Day. No, I know it's Happy Hump Day. Happy Hump Day, peeps. Liz says she signed up for the 3-hour course. She was one of the people I sent it to yesterday. She's excited. There are 1,000,001 stories that we tell ourselves about why we can't grow, can't change, can't be more personally, professionally, romantically, health. And it's all bull. It's all bull. Now, if you're someone who, when I say that, instantly rejects that idea, you would benefit from it even more. The folks who are most resistant, the folks who are never going to go, are the ones who derive the most benefit from it. The folks who are the most open are going to have the easiest time. Who still have a powerful experience, I would imagine. But it's the folks that are resistant. And that's exactly what I saw at All In Weekend. It was the folks at the beginning of the weekend that, when Andrew and I talked about, like, all right, here are the problem people. Here are the ones that we're going to need to give some extra love and attention to. Those were the ones that by the end of the weekend, I noticed were just like, what just happened, right? I took even more notes on stuff that we're going to pull from my experience or my things I've thought about while here for All In Weekend. And, sign up. So I want to apologize. Frank, our beloved Frank, did send me material for yesterday. He did not make the decision for me. He strongly encouraged, he recommended that I not do a show, that I get more sleep, but he did send me material because, to paraphrase him, he's not going to make that decision for me. Uh, but I missed the initial send because I'm exhausted and I saw it was happening. What I'm finding absolutely fascinating, we got out at 2 o'clock again this morning, last night, however you want to think of it. And, by the time today finishes, we're going to be at somewhere close to 90 hours in 6 days. 90 hours of this work in 6 days. Not to mention the bits that they asked me to do when I come home. I have to make a poster. They handed us all markers and a poster. It's like, am I in school? I feel like I'm in 6th grade and they're giving me a poster board. So by the time you add it all in, 90 plus hours, and the sleep deprivation, the sleep debt just keeps piling up. And sometime around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, I'm not tired anymore. It's the energy in the room. It's the other people in the room. I will say I'm incredibly thankful that I pulled off of caffeine a month ago, 6 weeks ago, whenever that was. Because if caffeine was in the mix here, I'd be in trouble, because I'd be drinking caffeine all the time instead of just trusting that 4 hours of sleep is going to get me through. And then I'd be using the bathroom and I'd be missing everything. And there are people that are doing that. There are people that you see them and they're up and back and up and back and up. You can see them because they're not the lane and the row in front of you or your row, and they're stepping over you every 30 to 60 minutes to go somewhere. I assume it's a bathroom. And I am staying only mildly dehydrated, and once again ate breakfast and then nothing until I got back tomorrow. So instead of trying to force a longer dialogue, I'm going to switch over to what Frank gave us to talk about and see where that brings us. Frank, I appreciate you. Thank you for all your help, your work. Josh, thank you for our theme song, and other person who at some point I will hear from. Thank you for what you are doing in setting up the audio. All right, where are we? What do I got to do here? I got to do this. Here we go. 3 quotes from Tony Robbins. Life isn't about getting more, it's about becoming more. Could we not say the exact same thing about martial arts? Martial arts is about getting more. It's not about getting more techniques. It's not about getting more rank. It's not about getting more trophies. It's about who you become and how you grow that creates the circumstances for those things to happen. You earn a new rank and learn new techniques in a new form because of the work you've done, not because you are more valuable as a person because your belt got darker. It's not a thing. We have this ability with our training to, I don't know, fill out who we are. How many of you, I know we don't have the numbers we normally do because later and plenty of people are getting ready to work for work or driving to work or at work, but how many of you that are watching, or if you're watching or listening later, does this apply to you? When you put on your uniform, and it could be a gi or a dobok, but it could also just be a particular set of shorts and a t-shirt, if that's what you train in. Then when you put that on, you feel strong. You feel powerful. You feel like a better version of yourself. That's me. It probably goes as no surprise to you. We all have these challenges. When we look at ourselves in the mirror and we see our flaws, and maybe don't consider ourselves as physically attractive as we would like to be. But the one exception for me is when I'm wearing a gi. I feel like a rock star. I feel like a superhero. I feel like I could do absolutely anything. And there were times in my life when I wore gi pants when I didn't have to. I wore my gi pants to high school twice. If only they'd had pockets, probably would have worn them more often. Because it's the place that I felt. I've grown as a person since then. But it was the being in those pants, I felt strong. I felt like a better version of me. Good morning, Stacy and Lou. Stacy's driving to work, but she's at a stoplight. Jenny's raising her hand. She says that's her super suit, her Dobok. I know for her it's a Dobok. I call it. I'm referring to the non generic term because I generally don't wear a Dobok. I generally wear a gi. It's a good thing. It's good to have those outside, those external anchors. It's good to remind us that, you know what? My training has made this piece of clothing, this piece of fabric, make me feel strong. It's a piece of fabric. It's there is no structural difference to that than wearing some random hoodie or button-up shirt and jeans. But what is different is the way you start to perceive yourself from the hard work that you put in while wearing it. It's not about the uniform. It's not about the color. It's not about the thickness. It's not about the type of fabric. It's not about how it fits you. It's about those things a little bit. But I could put on an ill-fitting uniform in a weird color. I used to have a pink top that my Taekwondo instructor had because he accidentally washed his white top, one of his white tops, with a red shirt. Well, he probably blamed it on his wife, but who knows who did it. Actually, no, I can't. It was probably his wife. But I was making a joke one day in class about wearing a pink top, and he's like, I have a pink top, you want it? You better believe I wore it. Didn't feel quite as strong and powerful as I do in others. But you know the irony of that pink top story? I accidentally washed it with like OxyClean or something, and it became white. Liz agrees with me, mine as well. It didn't start out that way for me. My self-confidence has grown as I continue to put it on. And is there a better metaphor just for our training in general? As we invest that time into that uniform or that belt, it becomes something special. You can say the same thing about the place you train. But if you take a big step back and recognize that it's not where you train, it's not when you train, it's not who you train with, it's not even what you wear while you train. If you show up strong and your why is strong, that iterative progress of your training, regardless of any of those other things, gives you something to lean on when you're not feeling strong. You could call it a crutch, but you could also call it a cape. And that's how I prefer to look at it. One of the things that we're doing as part of these experiences, there are a number of physical movements that are individualized to do various things. One of them is a power move, and everybody came up with their own power movement, something that makes you feel strong. And for me, it's turning both hands over and pulling them back to my hips, like retraction from a punch, but both sides. Not about elbowing in the back, not to the rear, but just drawing those hands in that process. Bring it in. I didn't think about that. I didn't sit there and go, okay, what would make me feel strong? It is so automatic after, how old am I? 39 years of training that I feel strong in that position. I feel ready. I feel like a warrior. And I bet you all do as well. Maybe not in exactly that same position, but something in your training. All right, what's the second one we got? The only people without problems are those in cemeteries. So true. We can probably relate this to perfection. How many of us watch upper ranks do anything? I'll never do that. I could never do that. I'll never be that good. Never, 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 never. All those people said that too, at least initially, until at some point there was something they thought, I won't be able to do that. And then they did it and they went, oh. So if I keep showing up and I keep trying, nothing is off the table. Given enough time, enough desire, anything that I know how to do as a martial artist, I could teach any of you. It might not look the same. You might not do it. No, you probably wouldn't do it exactly the same way. And your why may be different, which could create some differences. But I have literally zero doubt, because it's just showing up. It's just putting in the time with a why behind it, because the why creates the effort. If you don't have the why, you're just going through the motions. And we all have a why. Martial arts training isn't something any of us have to do. We just show up because it's better than the alternative, whatever those may be for you. Jetty says, I don't usually think never. I think, how am I going to get from here to there? And that is a much better question. And that's a question that applies far beyond training. If you've never read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, let me sum it up for you in one quick sentence. Say what Jenny said. Don't say I can't afford that. Don't say I can't buy that. I'll never be able to have one of those. Ask the question, how? How can I afford that? How can I have that? How can I do that? How can I be that? That's a positive question. It's a question that creates possibility, because it's possible. If you say, I can't do this thing, you're right, you can't. If you say you can't afford that, you're right, you can't. How could you? Something that's been very interesting for me. I went from I can't afford that to how can I afford that, to my evolution of that was I can't afford everything, but I can afford anything. I can't go out and buy like 400 houses, at least not right now. But I could find a way to buy any house I wanted. One of the things I've learned over this week is that even that level of self-brainwashing, I can't afford everything. Well, why not? What's limiting me from that? Because my definition of everything isn't literally everything. It's not literally the world and all of the things in it and the people and the universe. Everything would mean everything I wanted. Why can't I afford? Why can't I have everything I want? Now, don't get me wrong. Is it ever going to happen? Unlikely. But you have to keep the door open to the possibility for the result to be an option. Don't close the door on yourself. And our last one here. Every time you reach for food, ask yourself, will this cleanse me or clog me? It's some brutal alliteration there. We can apply that to training. We can apply that to anything. Is what I'm doing right now, or about to do, and we're going to do, what is this thing? Is this going to advance my training? Is it going to make me better in the way I want to be better, or ways I want to be better? And it's not always just, I'm going to show up and work the hardest. There are times when showing up to train is a poor idea. What if you're incredibly sore? like injured sore because you went so hard because you haven't taken a day off from training in a month. And it's compromising your ability to do technique. Maybe a day off would be a good thing. Maybe that ultimately would help you move further along the path. Or what if you're so sick as, you know what, here's a good one. What if you are incredibly run down and you've gotten, I don't know, like 25 hours of sleep in the last week? That actually might not be a problem. That might be an accurate number since I got here. 6 nights, 25 hours. And to go and do hard training because you're so run down might get you sick. Maybe taking a day off and taking a nap, sleeping and going to bed early, which is what I'm expecting Friday to be. In between shipping out all the gear, which we've been selling a ton of gear, which is awesome. That might be a better decision because it's about iterative progress, and iterative progress sometimes means reducing your backslide. If you get sick because you push yourself too hard, or you become injured because you push yourself too hard, and now you can't train for a week is longer than a day. To lose a week of training, that's worse than losing a day of training. So sometimes you have to be okay with missing a day of training. Take care, Lou. Have a great day. Feel better. I feel great. I'm just exhausted. It can be both. So with that, I think it's a good time to wind down. Just a reminder, if you pick something up at whistlekick.com, you can use the code FirstCup15 to save 15%. If we have a holiday sale with the thing that you are buying, that would be a better discount. I will refund you the difference. No questions asked. The person who bought a bunch of sweatshirts the other day, I'm saving my email right now. Wonder why. That is an offer I'm making only to you, my First Cup family. So, if you don't see it, if Christmas comes and goes and you didn't see a credit, a refund, partial refund, just reach out to me and say, hey, Jeremy, I bought this here. And, I saw this sale here, and you didn't give me the difference. I apologize in advance, but I will make it right. Okay. Kelly says, I've had to forgive myself and give myself permission to nap with my fibromyalgia. I realize I need that rest to be able to function better. Yeah. Because the priority isn't checking the box that I trained or got as much done as possible. It's showing up for the important things when they are most important as your best. Kelly teaches classes for a living. She wants to show up to those classes and be the best version of herself at each and every one of them. And sometimes that means getting extra rest. Sometimes the best version of you is the best version of you in that moment, not the best version of you overall. Am I at my absolute best right now? No. You can see it on my face. So, something I did that I haven't done in a very long time, I put sugar in my tea. Like a treat. All right. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. If here's the last thing I'll say about the Tony Robbins events and my encouragement for you to at least check them out. If you see something and it brings out questions and you're most comfortable asking me those questions, because the staff are quite responsive, very, very friendly, kind people. Don't be afraid to reach out. You can send me a message in whatever way works for you. But if you feel called, if you feel an instinct, if you feel a suspicion, check it out. But if you say, I'd rather do that work in a different setting, maybe in a martial arts setting, maybe one that's less about work and more about training as a personal development methodology. Uh, that's All In Weekend. That's what I said All In Weekend to be. And it's what it was, and it's what it will be even more of this year. So, sign up for All In Weekend. Don't wait. All right, everybody. Have an absolutely wonderful day. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your understanding. I'll see you at some point tomorrow. Take care.